Hi everyone, Jeremy Bailey, your flying realtor here. Welcome back to another episode of Tuesday's Tips. Today is Tuesday, April 28th, 2020. Today we're going to be talking about 3 tips for selling your home. 3 tips for selling your home. And again, we have Suzanne Caldeira in our virtual studio again. She's from Guaranteed Rate Mortgage, and we're going to have a little discussion. So let's jump on over and let's see what we got. Suzanne, thank you for coming back on today for our segment called Tuesday's Tips. Pop it up there, Tuesday's Tips. Today we're talking about 3 tips if you're thinking about selling your home. So if you are thinking about becoming a seller, you need to hear these three tips. The first tip is declutter. The best thing and cheapest thing you could do for yourself when it comes time to selling your home is to declutter. That means all of those items that you've been hanging around, that have been hanging on for years, 10 years, 20 years, however long you've lived there, let's get rid of them now. Let's not wait until you're rushing to get a moving company in there and you have to pay more money to pack up all this stuff that you really don't need or want anyway. You want to declutter. And what that's also going to do is it's going to make your house seem bigger and more open. People aren't tripping over stuff everywhere. We want the house to feel probably as empty as possible. We want it to almost feel like you don't live there. I know that's tough to imagine when you're living in a home. But if you want to take that minimalist view, which is very tough for us Americans sometimes because we love our stuff, but you really want to try to get rid of stuff. Or if you can't get rid of it, if you don't want to part with it, get a storage unit and move it into there and just get it out of your home. It's going to help sell your house. It'll help sell your house for more money. And that's ultimately our end goal, is to get the most amount of money possible for you for your house. Step number 2 is paint and repair. If you have chipping paint, there are marks in your walls, that faucet that doesn't work. These are all relatively small repairs that are fairly inexpensive to take care of. But when it comes time to showing your house, when people start seeing little things wrong here and there, they think, wow, this house has been really neglected. What larger items haven't they taken care of? And you're going to get significantly less money for your home. Now, I understand that sometimes with these repairs, even the smallest of repairs, you may not have the money for that. And that's where Suzanne can come in, and they have a product that can help give you funding or help you with funding to get these repairs done. Suzanne, what do you guys have?
Yeah, we have a partnership with Goldman Sachs. It's called a Marcus personal loan. So it's not as intensive as a home equity line. It's not tied to the property. The person is personally obligated, instead of it being not only personally obligated, but attached to the house like a home equity line. And they can get the money for those minor repairs in as little as 5 days. So this way, when they're talking to you and you realize that, you need to do this, this, and this to make the house really stand out, now you don't have on the buyer's end. And when I'm talking to a buyer, sometimes I'll talk to them after a home inspection and they'll say, well, there was this and there was that. And then that starts to get their brain going on what else might be wrong with the house. So making it be as perfect as possible, I think, works well when you're going to list it.
It does. It really does. And at the end of the day, like you said, once a home buyer starts looking at the little things, then they start thinking about, well, what large things are going to be an issue here? If a home seems very well kept up, fresh paint, there seems like there's pride of ownership, the faucets work, there are no burnt out light bulbs. I can't tell you how many times I've brought buyers into homes where there are multiple light bulbs out in the house and it just doesn't look well. It just looks wrong. It looks like, oh, they can't even replace a light bulb and they want to sell this house. What else are they neglecting? Are they trying to sell this house because there's a problem that they don't want to disclose, that they're not disclosing? So replace light bulbs, paint your house, do the minor repairs. If you don't have the money for it, give Suzanne a call. She'll help you out, which leads us on to our next point. Many people who are selling a home are also purchasing another home. So if you're purchasing another home and you're not purchasing it cash, you should think about getting pre-qualified now before you list it. If you've lived in your home for many years, you could have something that's popped up on your credit that might not even belong to you. It happens all the time. And so that's why you should call someone like Suzanne. And Suzanne, let's have you tell us from your perspective, what else do they need to do about getting pre-qualified? Give us some of the steps that they need to take.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the big thing, Jeremy, is being able to be fully prepared. Like buying a home and getting your home listed and getting ready can sometimes be a marathon. It's not a sprint. So, for instance, they meet with you, figure out the repairs that they need to do, get it looking as best as possible in that best possible light, and then talk to somebody like me and figure out, like, okay, what are we going to do with this money? All right, we've got $100,000 to play with. Do we want it all going towards the house? Do we want to keep some money set aside? Sometimes people are moving up, so they might realize, hey, my little 1,200 square foot ranch, my furniture is probably going to look funny in my new 3,000 square foot house. Or what if they're downsizing and they realize that they need furniture? And I think there's a value to speaking to someone that gets your brain thinking on, okay, do you really want all that going towards the house, or do you want to keep some in the bank? Do you have a financial planner that you want to speak to? So I think those are things that tie in and make certain that you're as prepped as possible so that you're going into this thing eyes wide open and you're ready for your next purchase.
Excellent. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed these tips. I really thank you for coming on again, Suzanne. We'll pop her information up again right here so you can see her information if you need to call her for any consultations on the financing side of things. And until next week, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Tuesday's Tips. Remember to keep your wings level, and I gotta fly.